Okay, I want to talk about something that I have been experiencing for a while now. And it's kind of weird. Like I feel like it's kind of weird, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to describe it to you. Okay, so I know I talk about smoking a lot, but there's something about it that is really unlocking all kinds of things for me. Um okay, so there's a few feelings that I get from that. I think I talked about timelines and time and everything happening simultaneously. I had a dream. I'd say about like 3 years, 4 years ago, something like that. I don't know. It was a while back, and in the dream, this spirit guide, this large Indian, saved me out of like this jungle that I was like I was like scared, and I asked for help, and he came in and he picked me up, and he looked at me, and it was like we just understood each other. And then from there, I like clicked into like another dimension, which was in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm walking down the street, and there's this other spirit guide, and he's like constantly folding. I think I already talked about this in another video, but he's like folding in and folding in. And he said I could ask him any question that I wanted. And I asked about time, and he said that it's all happening simultaneously. Now, I'm experiencing this in my current reality, and smoking is one thing that I can use to describe different dimensional realizations. I mean, food is too, fluid is too, but I'm just going to talk about smoking right now. So, I noticed that when I smoke, I'm not even sure if the cigarette really matters at this point, like which cigarette you choose. Maybe, maybe not. I think it has to do with imagination or what you gravitate towards, just like food, just like fluid. It's like I smoke Blue Pyramid cigarettes, and the reason why I smoke them is because I think about Blue Pyramid energy. I think it becomes more about like the imagination, or like what excites me. I think that's what it's like. What excites me, and when I smoke, it's funny. Um, you know, I'm just going to talk about it. This is just strange, but I'm going to talk about it. So, when I smoke the cigarette, it feels like I talk about this in the other video. It feels like, oxygen rushes in, like whether I'm eating or I'm drinking something or I'm smoking something. I talk about this before, but it's like I feel the oxygen in my system. Either it comes in or it actually happens inside my body. It's probably the same thing. It's probably the same thing, the inside and the outside. But it's like when I eat something, that's what it feels like. It feels like oxygen rushes in. But what I'm realizing is that the first inclination that I had when I smoked a cigarette and I felt the oxygen, it almost felt like pressure. And it made me think about being eaten by something else. And I know it sounds really, really weird, but it's like that was my first inclination, was that like something was actually eating me, because it feels the same the way the oxygen felt is the same way that the oxygen feels when I'm eating something. So it's like the process of like eating something feels the same way as being eaten by something. And it's like, when I think about time and everything happening simultaneously, I think, okay, well, if everything is happening at the same time, but we are able to have the cognition or the awareness of knowing that the soup that we move through is simply all of these frequencies and all of these timelines that are all right here, right now. And it's like, the smoking, spirit's always telling me that it's I'm smoking sarcophaguses. Now, I looked up the word sarcophaguses, and it's like a tomb, I think, made of a certain stone that actually eats away the flesh of a body. Like it eats your flesh away. And it's like I always think of Egypt when I smoke Blue Pyramid cigarettes. And I thought that was interesting, because I'm like, that's that dimension. Like I literally tune into that dimension, when I smoke a sarcophagus, or I'm being, and it's funny because I didn't even look up the word sarcophagus until yesterday, I think, and I read it and I'm like, what, flesh-eating stone? Because it's really funny because like a week ago, I was like, it feels like I'm being eaten by something. And I was like, that's really interesting. Like maybe I cue into like that Egyptian personality in my timeline. And that's what they're feeling or thinking in that moment. And it's like, I feel like I unlock something in my heart, mind, body, like the whole thing. It's like I'm there in that dimension. And I think that's why I keep experimenting with like food and fluids, because I know I talked about this, about it all being oxygen or feeling like oxygen. It's like it almost seems like what I say, it doesn't, I want to say it doesn't matter, but then I feel like I'm stopped from saying that. I think what I'm trying to say is that it is how you feel about it, because the more I feel what I'm doing, the more I'm realizing that, not only does it feel like I'm being eaten by something else, or that it feels like I'm actually, like when I smoke, it feels like I am eating something, because it's the same oxygenated rush that I feel either way. But what I've also noticed about smoking is that it gives me like, and I mean, you don't have to smoke, it's outside anyways, but this is just another way of exploring it, is that my muscles heal so fast. It's absolutely incredible. It's like this energy. I'm not really sure. It's like, there's something about this oxygen, whether it's concentrated in a cigarette, or you're hugging a tree and you're outside, or there's something about it healing your muscles, because I'm a very, very, very small individual, but there's like pretty much nothing that my muscles can't do. Like literally there's nothing my muscles can't do. It's like when I work out like real hard and I feel exhausted, it's like I'll go outside, I'll smoke a cigarette, and it's like, I'll give it, like I'll come back inside, I'll like bundle up, and get kind of warm and sort of like take my mind out the picture and do something simple, like, I got this puzzle that I'm doing right now. And it's like I'll heat up my muscles. It's like the synergy that I talk about in one of my other videos in the beginning, the synergy, the smoke, the volcanic energy, you know what I mean? It's like that goes to work immediately. It goes to work immediately. And it's like I give it like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I feel like $1 million bucks. Like I don't even have to rest forever, And there's even more connections that I can make with smoking, with the oxygen. Last night, for instance, I was getting really emotional about my mom. I was really missing her, and I was like, speaking my mind pockets outside, and I was like, crying, and I'm getting all emotional and stuff. And it was like the crying calmed me down, and then I felt kind of cold. I felt kind of cold, and it was the same feeling of oxygen. And I wasn't even smoking at that point. I was just outside speaking my mind pockets, and I felt the rush of oxygen, which calmed me down. But it also like fueled my muscles up in a way that calmed me down and gave me energy. It was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just amazing energy. It just seems to unlock so many things. This one simple device, this one tool of smoking is like this expression of so many different dimensions that I can immediately pick out. I'm like, oh, I'm in Egypt. Or like, oh, I'm an ancient. Like when I say ancient, I mean, I guess like a tribe, like maybe an Indian tribe, or well, I'm picturing something else, but I can't really think about it. Well, I'm thinking about it right now. I don't know. I can't really picture it very well, but like a more of like a bigger stature, not like ripped or nothing, but just like a real big, like what's that movie? Never-Ending Story. The guy, the limestone dude who eats limestone. He has these big, strong hands, like somebody like that. That's what I picture. And it's like I know immediately who I am or where I am, just by like thinking or feeling them. I mean, I'm not even sure if there's a difference between your heart and your mind. It's like, this is just one tool that I'm expressing, is the smoking. I get the same thing with fluids or food. They're just, it's coming down to more like they're tools. They're tools for me. They're here for enjoyment as well, but I feel like there's so much truth in this synergy that I'm talking about. This oxygenated, this muscle relaxer slash healer slash energy slash, like, I mean, it's like the words don't even, it's the same meaning. And it's like really amazing. And I'm not even sure where I'm going with this, but I feel like I had to really express that because, you know what I mean? Yeah, because I was like, literally, I was watching the Egyptian Book of the Dead, part 1, and it was like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I'm totally into it, right? And then it was like, I'm trying to like calm down a bit and like trying to, drink my coffee. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. And then it was like, I felt smaller. I felt like a smaller individual. I felt like a child, and I felt like a mom and dad were there, and they were like, like calm down, but like they're just there. Like they're there and they're taking care of me. And then, yeah, see, I'm getting emotional right now. And then it's like, from there, it was like I look around and it was raining out at the time, and it was kind of cloudy and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. And they're, I say them, but I'll just speak for myself right now. Oh, that didn't even feel right saying that. Okay, so it's like I look outside and it's raining, and I'm like, all right, where should my focus be? Where should my focus be? Because this is something that my body says, oh, I kind of want to go inside. So it's almost like it's not me. Or maybe it is, but it's like I'm channeling. It's like I'm in the moment of realizing that if your focus doesn't want to be here, then there's a reason why they're changing your focus to go inside. Like they, them, us, like the whole picture, the whole scenario, all the frequencies all at once. It's like, okay, go inside. And then it's like, all right, well, I understand now. If it's not super sunny, bright, all this stuff, or it's raining, I'm like, my system tells me go back inside. So I come back inside, I start watching this, and it's like immediately I got this inclination to share this. And I was like, whoa, like following my heart, following my intuition. I mean, whether I don't even think it matters like what brings you in here to do what you're doing. It's like, it just pulls you one way or the other. And it's like, I think it's like the realization of it that astounds me, is that it sounds weird to talk about something eating me or me eating something, or it feels like that. And it sounds strange, but I'm like, well, if I just say it, as strange as it may sound, that's what I immediately think of. And it's like, maybe these are fears. Like maybe these are fears that people have about like past timelines, or past, I don't know, like current timelines or something like that. And I feel like by talking it out, maybe that's what it feels like. Like maybe in a certain dimension, that's actually what's happening, and that's what it feels like. Instead of, we look at it like say a dinosaur eating somebody or eating something, and we're like, oh, that looks uncomfortable, that looks not okay. But then like maybe that's what the actual food is feeling when it's, like my video with like the pooping solution, or like the atoms, like we're eating our own atoms, you know what I mean? Like we're atoms eating atoms, you know what I mean? Like it's perfect science, and it makes perfect sense. But like the fact that I'm actually feeling that, it's like I realize that what we see as something difficult may not be difficult for that individual. Like I'm starting to wonder about like, not starting. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm probably already talked about this already, but I'm just going over it again. Is that it looks difficult, I think, in certain dimensional frequencies. maybe as a learning tool. I think possibly as like a learning tool to figure it out. But I think what I've realized is that it just looks that way so that you can look at it and say, something doesn't feel right about that. Something doesn't look right about that. But it looks the way it does, I think, to make you think or to make you wonder, like to never lose the wonder. So it's like when I feel something different, I'm like, what is actually happening here? But when I immediately picture it, I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's what it actually feels like in that moment. And it just look like maybe in whatever dimension I'm in, whatever frequencies are there, they're watching me being eaten by something, or maybe I'm actually in a sarcophagus and like Egyptologists are like going through, and maybe that's what you know what I mean? Like I don't know the answers to these questions exactly, but I know what it feels like, and I know they made a picture that's sent to me, and I'm not entirely sure of where it comes from, but I had to share it. So yeah, I feel like it just really unlocks a lot, and I really pay attention to it. I kind of feel like I don't pay attention to it. It just happens like immediately in the moment. It's, yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like an immediate picture. It's a picture. It's a feeling and a picture, which makes me think of autism. Okay, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.